Hey y'all. So this past week, this past weekend, we were at my a place my aunt had to get away. We um we always try to have family get together in the 4th of July to just celebrate and everything. And there were the other kids there. So obviously there was the other Disney Plus. And And I was watching one of the kids wanted to watch Monsters University, and I haven't seen the film in years. I thought I thought Monsters Inc. was better, to be honest. I still kind of do, but I'm glad I watched it because, like the description of this video says, God's wisdom can come often unlikely to places. You just have to look for it. Now, discernment of that would always is expected to come with that. You have to do a little deep dive into that sometime to see what God's really trying to say. Because, like I say too, God's words are never twisted, but they can be twisted when they get to the ears of man. So, anyway, I was watching the movie Monsters Monsters University, and I mean, if anyone wants to see it, it's on Disney Plus. I'll try not to give too many spoilers, but I wouldn't guess any are really that interested. But I won't try to give any major spoilers anyway. But the gist of the movie, you get this Mike Wazowski from first movie. He wants to be a carer. He gets inspired to do it at a young age. He just he just works hard and he studies, and I bet he's top of his class. He gets into top tier care program and everything. Gets into a top tier university because they were told about it. But then he's faced with the reality. And I like this messaging. He's faced with the reality. Well, you have everything it takes. You just with your stature and everything, you're not scary. And obviously, obviously not in that specific scenario. Not in that specific scenario I'm talking about. With with the messaging with God and everything. But how many of us have been in a particular situation, maybe not that particular situation, but it's just a situation similar to that, where it seems we work and work and work and everything, and it just doesn't come together in the end. The boat filled with motivation and characters like that. But then at the end of the movie, he's faced with that reality. But before that, and this is an important aspect too, this is an aspect you don't want to do. Towards the, towards the climax of the movie, we think it's the ending, but actually it's the climax of the movie. One of his friends sabotages sabotages an assignment that it's supposed to do to help them win. And eventually he's found out. But remember, if you try to help God out by finagling your way to the top of whatever industry you're thinking of, it can only lead to ruin, as it does in this movie. So he's eventually and important That's an important aspect too. Who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Or are you doing it for the glory of God? That can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes. But it's a question we only ask ourselves. So eventually gets found out, this friend gets found out, and they both get, they, well, I think only he gets kicked out of the university. The one that sabotaged the assignment, but Mike's distraught about it. He's distraught. He goes off to a dangerous place where he's not supposed to be to try to prove himself. And that's what we can do too. We can try to prove ourselves, but we can go without God. And that's the problem. He went without help. He went without growing knowledge of his surroundings. He just went willy nilly to try to prove himself. Mostly to himself, but also to other people, I guess. So he ended up in a desolate place all alone, and he's really faced with that reality when he tried to do that, because he found out, you know what, they're right. I'm not scary. I thought if I wanted it enough, and this is a quote from the movie. I thought if I wanted it enough, everything else would take care of itself. Well, basically, I don't know if I'm quoting verbatim, but basically that's what he said. I thought if I wanted it enough, everything else would take care of itself. And he had this whole thing with the jock of the movie, the jock of the movie might say, the guy who just quoting off his family name, I guess you could say Roy. And he had a hard talk with him, and this guy admits, hey, deep down, I'm terrified. I failed every test. I didn't work nearly as hard as you are because of my name, because of my reputation. And there's a little bit of a sermon in there too. You remember the Jews, the Israelites who came, well, I don't know if they're specifically Jews and Israelites, but they were the Pharisees who came to John the Baptist to get baptized, and John the Baptist rebuked them, saying, oh, no, don't say you're saved, you brood of vipers, you brood of snakes. God's coming judgment. Children of Abraham, you're able, that means nothing. God can turn these stones into children of Abraham. What that meant was you can't code off a family name. You can't code off tradition. You can't code off legacy. Sometimes you just gotta stand on your own 2 feet, because that's nothing else can get you to heaven, can get you to the glory of God, other than you yourself having a personal relationship with God. So anyway, at the end of the movie, the real end of the movie now, the end of the movie, they work together, and Mike's able to pull together his hard work and gets them out of that dangerous situation and gets them back home. Now they still get kicked out of the university for the wreckage stunt that they pulled. They put countless lives in danger. I mean, they still get consequences for their reckless behavior. But at the end, they get the monsters incorporated. They work in the mailroom, and he does get to train a top guy in Sally Sullivan, and he does go on to become a top character. And even though there's a powerful message in that, and like I say, I like the message too, that Mike didn't get exactly what he wanted. That he was faced with the reality, because that wasn't in his control. I mean, how he looked, how he sounded, that wasn't really in his control. But he can control what he does and how he responds to said adversity. And that's what we can do that's applicable to ourselves in the real life as God's people and as people want to be used by God and want to have a purpose. Well, we can pout about it. We can be despondent about it. And that would be kind of justified in the end, kind of that grieving process justified a little bit. But just, but we can say, I may not get to do exactly what I wanted, but if I follow God, I'll get to do something well greater than what I wanted. But because you're working for God now. But also, Mike does get to do something adjacent to what he wanted. He gets to use his experience, his studying, his drive, his attitude, everything to train Philly into being the top gear, and along with um along with a friend at the university, he gets them to rise up the ranks. But every time you go with God, you may not, like I say, you may not get to do exactly what you want. Like Mike, didn't get to do, and in some cases, it's not really fair. Well, it seems like it's not fair anyway. In some cases, it does seem like it's not fair. Like I worked hard, I did all this and such, and e- everything. And the guy who doesn't know anything just gets by on his looks, that gets by on family's reputation, family name, or whatever. But if you go to God with what you want, delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll the true, the true desires of your heart. Because if you look at God and you follow Him, He'll make you have desires and longings that you didn't even know existed. And all those desires and longings will point back to Him. I mean, because that's what life is all about. I mean, you can say God wants you, which Jesus wants you to get into heaven and everything, and He doesn't really care mindset about your mindset coming in either, because even if you come in with a selfish mindset, over time, when you've been with God, your mindset He always changes your perspective, always. Well, purpose and drive will always be for God. It's not about us. And the reason it's for God is because, well, if it's about us, we pick ourselves every time. We pick ourselves every time we kind of forget about God. And that can be very dangerous, because if we forget if we forget about God, we'll end up living like hell, and we'll end up driving a lot of people to to that point because of our accident and our forgetting about God. And if truly God touched to this point when when he never forgets about us. Never. And that's people may try to convince you that, oh, God forgotten about you. God hadn't answered your prayer, or well, this didn't work out for you, so God must not be in it. And there's some truth to that. God may not be in it. It's always important to be praying and be writing to yourself and be asking God, okay, are you doing this? I don't want it if you're not doing this. But if you are in this, then you'll yet me get to the point where I'm at. But God wants you to have so much more. That's what atheist people don't believe in God, and people try to make you doubt God. That's what they don't get. God wants you to have way more than is in this world. Everything that is good in the world is but a shadow of the perfection that's going to be in heaven. Because God designed us perfect. God designed us in perfection. God designed us in perfect unity with Him. But because of our rebellion, which any one of us would act in rebellion towards God in Adam or Eve situation, but because of our rebellion and because of our sin and our inherent yet for power and corruption and the easiest way, the easiest season, we separated. We separated ourselves from God and will continue to do so. And yet we come back to Him. And yet we're just on our knees, and yet we're just asking Him to come get us, asking Him to come save us, and recognizing that God wants better for you. He showed it on the cross. God wants better for you than you could ever want for yourself. Guys, I love you. God bless you. I hope you had a great 4th of July. I had an awesome 4th of July. And by the way, also something I found myself saying this past week is we celebrated our Independence Day, but yet it's become more dependent on God. Because that's what He wants. God doesn't want it to be. I'm not saying He doesn't want it to be independent. He doesn't want it to do things for itself. But He wants us to be dependent on Him in the fact that we always go to Him and we'll always give Him the credit when things work out well. And because things work out perfectly just in His timing, give Him credit in the good and bad because He is working for the good of those who love Him and those who are called according to His purposes. Guys, I love you. I think when I see you, and have a good day.